Okay. Ooh, I hope to get through this in one clean take. Yeah, I hope to do this. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna set up Zaproxy to work with FoxyProxy on Firefox. I'll do another video another time using Chrome or Brave or whichever, just Chromium or Chromium based browser, and I'll do another video later on about Kaido and Burp Suite and how you'd set those up. But it shouldn't be much different. I remember setting up Burp Suite multiple times, so it's not gonna be crazy. It's not gonna be crazy different, but I can walk through those steps. To set this up, we're gonna start with going to the settings. We're gonna go to the extensions and themes. Just go ahead and scroll to the very bottom, right, and you'll see find more add-ons, right, where you come into here. Quickest thing you can do is just oh, perfect. Standard, boom, and standard would be the path of least resistance. Go ahead and click add, and we'll see. As for permissions, you can just want to click add as well. It just said at the bottom there, run in, there's a box you get to click to run in private browsers as well, which is gonna be relevant in just a second. Where you go to see, if you go to your options, right, it says Firefox requires private browsing permissions for proxy settings. Yeah, so if you clicked it before, it wouldn't show you that, but since I didn't, it did show that, and it's fine because you could always change that in the settings later on, right? But we're just gonna go to add, and we're just gonna give it the name Zap Suite. Whoops, if I could spell. There we go. Zap Suite, and that's just a reference to being able to use either Zap, Zaproxy, or Burp Suite. All right, and we're gonna set the host name to 127.0.0.1, which is gonna be your local host. Hopefully, you already know what that is. Whoops, sorry, let me zoom all the way in so you can see that. All right, for demonstration. So I named it Zaproxy, the reference to Zaproxy and Burp Suite. And then the host name is going to be your local host, which is gonna be 127.0.0.1, right? And then we're just gonna set this port to 80. So let me zoom out a little bit, because now you'll be able to save. And since that bar is done, okay, so you'll see right here, Zap Suite, right? I'm just gonna turn that off because it's gonna cause a problem in a second. Next, what you're gonna want to do is write Zap install. Right? I'm assuming that you already don't have Zap installed, but if you didn't, this is how you would do it. It's really simple. Just look up Zaproxy or Zap or either or, because it'll bring you here. Then you have multiple options. Real straightforward. If you're on Windows, you're grabbing the Windows based on, system or 64-bit, 32-bit. And you have Linux installed, the package itself, the source, all that stuff. You can click this and just install it that way, right? But I'd strongly suggest, well, I mean, not this one per se, but like if you're trying to use Docker, you could do that. You can go and pull this, right? Different versions you can pull from, as well as see the documentation for it. I'm just going to scroll a little further. Just to show that there's a bunch of ways to install this. Since Linux is, there's a lot of distros, a lot of flavors, got a lot of options, so buyer beware, mileage may vary, right? But for Windows, I'd actually just recommend you open up your PowerShell and write this command in, or just, copy and paste that sucker in there and watch your terminal do some magical stuff, but it's very straightforward. Same thing goes for Mac users. This is how you're just going to do this, right? Flatpak users, you know who you are, and then the Ubuntu people, yes. And then, you have your others like FreeBSD or BSD, right? But we're not even gonna get into all that. So I already installed mine. You just take the time to do yours. I'm not gonna include that in here because it's gonna be very straightforward. But we're just gonna write in Z. I could have wrote Zap, but Z will always come up, right? And it's Z attack proxy, which is actually the name of the Zap proxy. It's the acronym for it. We're just gonna take a moment to let this load up. Right. The first thing's going to show up when you open this is going to say, do you want to persist the Zap session? You say, yes, I want to persist the session with the name based on the current timestamp. Yes, I want to persist the session, but I want to specify the name and location, or no, I don't want to persist the session at this time. I'm going to click that for the sake of this example, this demo. But you should probably do one of these, probably this one. And then depending on you could choose to remember my choice and do not ask again, but if you're just on the fence, just leave it alone because it's not so important right now. So we're going to go to Tools. Whoops, I'm going to go and move this around. This thing's be a little weird. But yeah, you're going to click Tools and go to Options. And I tried writing a certificate, but it actually didn't work for me. I don't know why, but that's not a now problem. We're going to go to Server. So in Network, scrolling down to Network, you're going to see Server Certificate. And this won't really matter right now whether you guys see this or not, because you could always just generate a new certificate, right? You also have the ability to set the expiration for it as well, and you could also see previously issued certificates. So you're going to want to save it, and just for sake of it, I'll be able to show that I've previously already saved it into documents, into certs, right, which is the name of the folder. But you save it where you want to save it, but that's where I put mine, so I'm not going to bother saving that here either, right? Because I already did a dry run just to get a proof of concept kind of thing, right? And once you have that certificate generated, normally you just click back in here, but we're not going to go there because we already have this settings open. And we're just going to go here, just going to zoom in a little bit more, right? And close this in the background. And just write certificate, if I could spell. There we go. Certificates, and then view certificates. There we go. Man, this zoom is crazy. Go to authorities, right? Or I guess it already starts you on there, and you're just going to import that, which you're going to see the same thing I just showed you, documents, certs, right? And then this cert, which is ZAP root CA cert. We're going to open that. It's going to ask for permissions, or it says, you have been asked to trust a new certificate authority, which is a CA, right? Do you want to trust Zaproxy root CA for the following permissions, or purposes, sorry. So trust the certificate to identify websites. We're only going to click this one. It depends on your use case, but we're not going to need that right now. And you also have the ability to view the certificate, right? So we're just going to click OK. And to show you that this actually was added, you just go to the very bottom because they're all alphabetical. You see Zaproxy root CA, right? Software security device. And then just to show, because it's going to show up in the other ones well here. Perfect. So we can see Burp Suite is issued by Portswigger. So when you add a certificate, import it, it will show up here. And alternatively, if you want to delete one, or you distrust it, you could just always delete it that way. It'll ask you permissions first before doing that. So we're just going to click OK, close this menu, and then we add that certificate. We can get to the magic, the fun stuff. So we're just going to go here, Zaproxy, boom. Or I guess I should just, no, we'll just do this, right? Move to the side, move this to the side. And let's give you the first use case. Now this is when the magic happens, right? And click on here since you've already set up your proxy, and click here. So now even on this page that you're already on, if you just tap this and refresh the page, boom, that's the first thing that you've actually just proxied. You can see, usually it would show, responses and, requests and responses, but I'm just going to go and click this so you can see it on one page. So this is the very same page. Do it with other examples too. I'm pretty sure this will, whoops, not this one, but this, right? Same thing here. Or maybe not that because it's eternal. That's, I don't know, sandwich, right? Just look up an arbitrary example and you'll see that Google and other stuff are generated inside of here, right? Go ahead and click here. You're going to see new traffic. If I click the image, you're going to see something else show up as well. Maybe, okay, so this is what we're doing for the example. But yeah, this is how you're going to set up your proxy. You sort of set up Zaproxy with FoxyProxy on Firefox. Just want to give a little demo, a little streamline of how this works and how you would set this up. What is it, right here? I think it should be it. This little green symbol should show you the tutorial for how you actually use Zaproxy. Or if you want to teach yourself that way, that's probably the quickest way. You can just go through the little tutorial that they have built in on here. Or look up some other videos related to Zaproxy to give you a better understanding of how you use this. But the last thing you want to do, I guess it's being annoying, but there's different modes, and you do not want to change these modes until you have a better understanding of what you're doing with this thing, right? But it's just a little demo. Boom, now you know. Setting up traffic, or it's now you're monitoring traffic, and that's the end of the video. Hope you learned something and you better understand how this stuff works. You can always come back to this as a resource.